Super. Super. Great. Thank you. So very warm welcome to all of you and welcome to this wonderful program, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. We are going to learn some wonderful stuff here today. Meenakshi, you can wake up or switch off your camera. Okay. So a quick request to all of you before we start. This is a training program. We all attend this to make something better out of ourselves. So please make sure that you are stationary, you are at one place, attending with full focus. Only then this will benefit. This is not something to be attended while you're lying down, while you're jogging, while you're walking, while you're driving. This is not just a lecture. This is a training program and you need to be attentive. Okay. Although I cannot control this, that's only a request. Okay, great. So how many of you are excited about this? Great, super. And how many of you are listening about NLP or knowing NLP for the first time, not heard about this before? Priyanka, Darpan, Anuradha, Yasji, Kavita, Sumit. Okay, little bit of knowledge. Okay. Okay, great. Great. So let's quickly understand at a high level what is NLP. There's a lot that we are going to learn. This is a 5 weeks program. Every Saturday and Sunday morning 7 to 10 we are going to catch up on this. And this is kind of learning and understanding the operating system of human beings. The operating system of human beings. Like you have operating systems for your phones, you have Android, you have iOS, you have Windows for your computers. This is going to be understanding the functioning of human beings. And when we say functioning, the primary focus will be on how we communicate. Whom do we communicate with? Whom do we communicate with? With others and with ourselves, right? We communicate with others and we communicate with ourselves. So now, if I ask you a question, I want all of you to respond to this in the chat box. How much percentage of our communication is with others and how much is with ourselves? What do you think? %99 with others, 1% with self, 10 with others, 90 with self, maybe 50-50, 90-10, 90-1. ये तो 99 ही हो गया. Okay. 70-30, 60-40, 100-100, 100-100, 50-50, 10 with others. I think more with ourselves. Okay. 70-30, depends on what? Depends is a wonderful answer, right? When you don't know the answer becomes depends. Okay. Okay. Now listen to this carefully. 100% of the communication that we do is with ourselves. We do not communicate with others. 100% of the communication that we do it with ourselves. We do not communicate with others. How many of you would agree to this? क्या पवन सुबह सुबह कुछ भी बोल रहे हो? अभी मैंने मेरे अलार्म को स्नूज किया तब मम्मा चिल्लाई, उससे कम्युनिकेट किया. 8 o'clock the maid was supposed to come. I will be in a training, so I called her up. उससे communicate किया. I communicate with so many other people. Let's understand this. Okay. How you communicate with others and how you communicate with yourself shapes your reality, shapes your experiences, shapes your possibilities, and shapes a lot of things for you and about you. Okay. So let's understand this. Imagine you're driving on a road. Okay. You're driving a bike on a road. Okay. As you are driving, from the other side, opposite to you, another vehicle is coming, which is on the wrong side of the road. There's another scooter coming from the other side. That person is wearing a helmet. You don't know who the person is. That person is wearing the helmet. That scooter is coming towards you. And because it is coming on the wrong side, trying to make some gaps, it kind of brushes you. Okay. And both of you fall down. You don't get hurt as such, but both of you fall down. Okay. What will your reaction to that vehicle, to the other driver be? That person is coming from the wrong side. You are driving properly. You'll be angry. You'll be upset. You will scold that person. You will be aggressive because you know you are right. Correct? दिखता नहीं है क्या ऐसे क्यों चलाते हो रॉन्ग साइड है ऐसा है वैसा है. You will immediately start speaking the entire constitution out because you are on the right side. Correct? You will advise that person. You will get very angry at that person. You will almost start a fight with that person. You will use the best of the words to address that person. Idiot, nonsense. This is the beginning. I won't go beyond this. Okay. Now, it so happens that that person removes the helmet, wanting to say sorry to you. That person removes the helmet, and it turns out it is your best friend's father. Or let us say your father-in-law. It just so turns out that this person is a very good friend's father or father-in-law or something like that. What happens to your communication? After the person removes the helmet, you realize, अरे ये तो अपना आदमी है. Now what happens? गुस्सा उड़ जाएगा. 90 degree, 180 degree change. You'll become polite. Right? Your language was, अबे दिखता नहीं है क्या? This is not the way to drive on the road. And all of a sudden you see the face. I mean, uncle, what I mean to say is, थोड़ा सा ध्यान दीजिए ना आप ऐसा. हाँ मतलब हाँ चलो ठीक है आपको लगी तो नहीं ना एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. राइट. In an instant everything will be changed. Right. So then what were you communicating with? Were you communicating with that person, or were you communicating with the image of that person in your head? You were communicating with the image of that person that is created in your head. Does that make sense? Right? Initially, it was a stranger who was driving wrong. That's it. That was the image. And your reaction to that image was all that aggression. As soon as you knew who the person is, there was a new image of that person. Now that's not how you communicate with this image. So you changed your way of communication. So although your communication was directed to that person, what you were responding to is the image created in your head. You are communicating with yourself in a manner to make an impact on the other person. But 100% of your communication is towards yourself. And now if you want to be, if you want to if you want to bifurcate this, if you want to make two parts, even then how much is with others, image of others, and how much is with myself, even then about 90+% of your communication is with yourself. Only 10% is diverted towards others. Maximum communication that we do is with ourselves, and it is very important for us to learn how we communicate with ourselves. And I'm not talking about affirmations and all that here, none of that. What is the language that we do use in our day-to-day awareness? I'm not talking about what affirmations you do in the morning for 10 minutes. That's not what we are going to deal with here. Of course, that makes a difference, but what do you do with awareness the entire day is also what matters. How do you understand how a person listens? How many of you been in a situation where two people did the same thing? One was appreciated, the other was not. You gave an advice in a meeting and your advice was turned down. Your colleague gave the same advice and it was appreciated. How many of you have been in that situation? And you were wondering, तो मैंने क्या अलग बोला? What was I telling differently? Sometimes it could be the other way around also. Your colleague said something, he wasn't appreciated. You said the same thing, you were appreciated. Two brothers, one person says something, he gets scolded. The other brother says the same thing, he gets appreciated. There has to be some difference that is making this difference, right? One employee applies for a leave. He is told that there is a delay, there is a project, this important priority, etc., etc. Leave is rejected. Another person from the same team goes to the same boss and applies for a leave, and his leave is approved. There has to be something that the other person is doing differently. What is that difference that makes the difference is what we are going to learn in these 10 days. Right? Of course, Devanshi is saying the way of speaking might be different. Of course, the way of speaking is different. But what is that difference? Knowing that is also important, right? What is that difference? To take this one level further, you might have also seen this. Two people, let us say two children, okay, of the same parents. They say the same thing to the father. Let's say the name of these children are A and B, okay. A gets scolded, B gets appreciated from the father for saying the same thing in a different manner. Now they say the same thing in a different manner to the mother. This time it is the reverse. If first time A was appreciated, this time B is appreciated. B was scolded, this time A is scolded. So it's not only the manner you say, it is the manner you say it with respect to the person who is listening. But how do you know what will that person appreciate? All of this we have to look for in these 10 days of training. Okay. So very, very important, very, very powerful training. I want you to be completely attentive. We are going to learn primarily about the difference that makes the difference. What is that minor thing, that small thing that all these people do to make sure that they achieve what they want to achieve? Or sometimes they accidentally achieve whatever it is. But the point is, some people get it right, the others don't. What is that difference? Okay, set for it. Ready? Good to go? Show me some excitement. Okay, super, great. Let's go. So we are going to learn, as I said, the difference that makes the difference. Now, what is NLP? NLP, we'll come to the technical definitions and other stuff about NLP. Okay. But like I said, primarily, the difference, that small thing that many people do in order to achieve what they want to achieve, okay, is what we are going to learn. Full. Now, let's first understand, because you're going to talk about communication, how does the communication model work? How do we communicate? How do we understand communication? How do we make sense of things happening around us? When I say communication, is it only speaking? Right now I am talking, so I am communicating with you, right? But is that only speaking? Is this also communication? Is that also communication? Right? So body language is communication. Is communication only human? No. It's with others as well. The other animals, other birds, nature, right? So there are different forms of communication, and there are different ways the world communicates with you. So let's understand how the human mind makes sense of communication. Let's begin with that. Okay. And that is going to set the base for the entire training. So how do you think we get to know about anything happening around us? How do we get to know about anything that's happening around us? Through senses, through the five senses. Correct? What are the five senses? There are a total of 8 senses. out of which 5 senses are used for understanding what's happening around us: visual, audio, touch, smell, and gustatory. Right? These are the 5 senses. What is the 6th sense? What people call as 6th sense. That is the 6th sense. Right? Some people get to know what is not happening around them. तो उसको 6th sense बोलते हैं. God knows what that is. So that is 6th sense. Then there is common sense, which is not so common. Fair enough. And then the last one, yeah, some people call 6th sense as intuition as well. Okay. The last one is nonsense. Correct. Okay. So we'll focus on the first 5 senses for now. Okay. We'll focus on the first 5 senses. Now, anything that happens around us comes to us through these 5 senses. Okay. Let me put up a slide here. So this is this blue image on the right. Let's say that image is you. Okay. Now, an external event happens. It can be any event around you. Any external event. It enters to you through your senses. Fine. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. These are the technical terms. Common man terms are sight, sound, feeling, smell, and taste. Okay. Anything that happens around you comes to you through these 5 senses. Now, on an average, 2 million pieces of information are hitting you per moment. Okay. Roughly about 2 million pieces of information are hitting you. Do you think you process all of that? Do you think you process all of that? Right now you're seeing the slide on the screen and you're listening to me. Okay. Are there other sounds around you right now? The sound of the fan or the sound of the AC or sound of the air or sound of some people around you. Maybe some music is playing somewhere around you. Maybe some mosquito or something is humming around you. Are there other sounds around you? Yes. Are there other things that you are already seeing while you are focused on the screen? Although you are looking at the screen that I am sharing, are you also seeing the border of your phone or laptop? Are you seeing the wall? Are you seeing a part of the floor? You're seeing a lot of things. While all of this is being seen, by you, are you continuously processing all that information? You are only consciously processing the screen, correct? You are only consciously listening to me, and all other information you are rejecting. Fine. While 2 million pieces of information come to you per moment, what an average human being can process is 7 pieces of information, plus or minus 2 per moment. Okay. 7 pieces of information plus or minus 2 per moment. That's all we can process, nothing beyond that. Fine. Now, if that much is being rejected, out of 2 million, only 7 are being processed. On what basis are the other information rejected? How does your mind know what to focus on, what to reject? First of all, let's understand one thing. Every single bit of information is processed. Okay. But at a deep subconscious level. When I say 7 pieces of information are processed, what I mean is only that much comes to your consciousness, to your awareness, right? And that part, that activity, that entire process is done by what we call as filters. That information that hits your senses, a lot of filters are applied and only a part of it comes to your consciousness. Right now, while you are listening to me, many other sounds are there, but they are all filtered and only my sound is reaching your consciousness. All other sounds are rejected for now. While you are seeing many other things, only what you see on the screen is being filtered and taken to your consciousness. Rest of it is rejected. Okay. What are these filters? And what is the role of these filters? Very important to understand, because it is these filters where the entire difference lies. Okay. At primary level, there are 3 filters that work on us. 3 filters. Number 1, deletion. Any information that comes to you most probably gets deleted. You don't even think of it, you don't even process it, you simply delete it. Your subconscious mind simply deletes that information, knowing that this is useless right now, this is not required right now. Like right now, you are deleting all the other sounds. You're deleting all the other things that you see. You're only focusing on the screen. Deletion takes care of eliminating most of the information that is not important at that moment. Sometimes these filters work right, sometimes these filters work wrong. When they work wrong, you also delete what was not to be deleted. You also end up deleting what you should have not deleted. Okay. Now, what is deletion? For example, maybe some smell of breakfast is coming from your kitchen right now. However, maybe for a few seconds that smell did bother you. As you continue to focus on the training, that smell is now getting deleted. You have signaled your mind, right now I don't want to focus on that smell, and your mind automatically deleted it. Imagine what will happen to you as a person if you processed all the 2 million pieces of information consciously every moment. What will happen? What will happen if you process all the information consciously every moment? You'll go mad. You'll go crazy. You will freeze. Correct. You won't be more aware. You'll go super crazy. Too much overload and too much of unnecessary information, not required information. Right? So to keep your sanity intact, to keep you better, the brain does the job of ensuring that a lot of information is deleted. Fine. Now the second filter is distortion. Distorting means changing that piece of information to something else. Fine. Changing that piece of information to something else, or giving it another name, or giving it another meaning. Some information is coming to you, however, you look at it differently. For example, some person that you like, okay, let us say you are at office, you are in the middle of a deep problematic project, something wrong is happening, and it so happens that a person that you like walks into the room. Fine. You instantly think, my savior has come. Who has actually come? Some person. Let's say his name is Ramesh. So Ramesh has come. But what did you instantly do? You didn't think Ramesh has come. Your mind instantly said, my savior has come. Okay. Or let's say a person that you don't like arrived. A person that you don't like arrived. And you are like, ye panoti aa gaya. Okay. What did you do? You didn't say Ramesh has come. You renamed it to Panoti. Or my bad luck, or this or that, whatever. Another problem just arrived. You changed it. Right? Your mind does a lot of this changing all the time. Okay, all the time. Let's take an example. And those who are attending this for the second time, please don't type in the chat box and spoil the fun for others. Okay. Only those who are new to this training will type in the chat box. Fine. I'm going to give you a story and I want you to tell me what's happening here. Okay. So I was walking on a road somewhere near a college, just outside the gate of the college. I saw that a young boy, okay, a young boy was offering a red rose to a young girl. Okay. Those who know this will not spoil the fun. So don't type anything in the chat box. Only those who are listening for the first time will answer. Okay. So a young boy was offering a red rose to a young girl. The young girl looked at the rose for a few seconds, then put a nice smile on her face and accepted the rose. Took the rose from the young boy. What's happening here? Type in the chat box. What is happening here? Acceptance, silent communication, love, proposal. She accepted his good gesture. Both like each other. Happiness, confirming, communication, happiness, acceptance. Okay, wonderful, good. वादळापूर्वीची शांतता. Acceptance of love, exchange of emotion, right? So let me complete the story. Then what happened? After accepting the rose happily, the girl put her hand in her purse, took out a 10 rupees note and gave it to the boy. The boy also, with a good smile on his face, happily accepted the 10 rupees and the girl moved on. Now what happened? A sale happened. A sale happened. She was buying, the boy was selling. There was an exchange. A transaction happened. Right? Now think about it. When I just told you, outside a college, a boy was giving a rose to a girl. The girl looked at the rose and happily accepted it. That's all what I told you. Correct? What business did you have in making a meaning out of it? लव है कि प्रपोजल है कि क्या है, वो दोनों देख लेंगे ना जो भी है. But the point is, imagine every time you see an event, you look at the event like this. A boy is offering a rose to the girl. The girl is taking the rose. मेरे को क्या? How would life be if you did that? Right? If you continuously process information the way it is, generally that's how you should. But if you continuously do it, imagine the amount of processing that will happen. And to reduce that load, to reduce the load on the processor, what the mind does is it does distortion. Immediately gives a meaning. I said a boy is giving rose to a girl. You gave it a meaning. What was the meaning you gave? Proposal, love, whatever. Okay. Then I said the girl gave 10 rupees to the boy happily accepted. Now you gave it a meaning. It is a transaction. Right? Is it necessary that the boy was selling rose to the girl? No. Maybe the girl has ordered the rose online. Somebody has couriered it. That boy is just a delivery boy who gave the rose to the girl. And the girl tipped the boy with 10 rupees. Gave a tip of 10 rupees to the boy. That could also be a case. And again, the story changes in your mind. Right? The point is, when we make a meaning, we don't know whether that is the only meaning. Okay? We don't know if that is the only meaning. However, we keep giving meanings. And that is important because only then our mind will be at peace. Fine? So that is distortion. We giving meanings to things is distortion. Okay? Fine. Next. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Next, the third filter that we apply, another very important filter, is generalization. Generalization. We don't get into specifics all the time. We generalize all the information that comes to us. Okay. For example, yesterday night I was at home and all of a sudden loud music started from somewhere. Okay. And my mind thought maybe somebody's partying. There's a party happening. Loud music means party. Is what? Generalization. Okay. Some party is happening somewhere. That's what my mind thought. Only after a few minutes I realized there was a car downstairs which was playing loud music. Until I saw that I saw that car playing music, I thought somebody's partying at his home. Fine. So when something happens, we give it a generic meaning. If you see a person in the uniform, you will say this is a policeman or an army man. You give a generalized meaning to it. When you see a challenge coming at you, you don't directly classify the challenge immediately. First, ye naya challenge aa gaya. A new challenge coming. A new problem has come in. Right? Or if something good happens to you that day, you start saying, today I am lucky. One small incident of a few moments good happened with you. and you start thinking, today I am lucky, generalizing the entire event. Fine. So these are the three primary filters. You generalize that rose as a proposal. Fine. So these are the three primary filters: deletion, distortion, and generalization, based on which all our communication is impacted. All our communication. How many times has it happened with you that you said something, but the other people understood something else? You were saying something to a person and the other person completely took it in the other way around, and now there was a fight or there was a disruption in your communication or whatever. Many times. Why does that happen? Because what you say was what you said, but what that person received went through all these filters. The person distorted it, generalized it, deleted something important, distorted something wrongly, whatever it is, and that person took it that way. And you cannot control how a person is going to delete, distort, or generalize. Right? All information around you passes through these filters. These filters are there to maintain your sanity. These filters are there so that your peace is at place. Fine. However, sometimes these filters may also go wrong and take things their own way. Fine. So the question is, what are these filters based on? Who decides these filters? How are they created? Are they inbuilt from the beginning or are they created over time? So some filters are inbuilt from the beginning and then they shape themselves over time based on your experiences. What are these filters based on? These filters are based on your values, your beliefs, your attitude, your memory or your experiences, what has happened to you so far, your decisions, your language, right? All the filters that you create are dependent on these things. And you keep building these filters, creating these filters, changing these filters, dropping some filters, creating new filters. That is also a continuing process. But the bottom line is, all information that comes to your senses passes through these filters before some part of that information actually reaches your consciousness. Okay? Now, when this passes through all these filters and it finally comes to your consciousness, it gets stored in your mind again as sensory information. Either a picture or a sound or a taste or a smell or a feeling. This is what gets stored in your mind. Apart from this, there is one more way it is stored, and we call it as internal dialogue. The talk that you have with yourself within your mind. So there are 6 methods by which information is stored in your mind: sight, taste, sound, smell, feeling, and internal dialogue. Okay. Now, when this external event happens, passes through these filters, comes and affects your consciousness, what do you think happens next? It changes your internal representation. There is a certain state of your mind, and an event happens and that state changes, and an event happens and that state changes, and an event happens and that state changes. Continuously there is a change happening in your mind based on what you hear, what you see, etc. Okay. This internal state, this internal representation, when that changes, it changes your emotions. Your emotional state changes based on what you see. While you are driving somewhere, out of nowhere you get to hear a song. Maybe another car on the side is playing a song which is your favorite song. Your emotional state changes. As you drive further, another car is playing a sad song. Your emotional state changes. As you drive somewhere, you see your temple or gurudwara or masjid, your place of worship, your state changes. As you drive further, you see a jail, your state changes. Right? Your emotional state changes based on what is happening outside. A nice smell comes from the kitchen, your emotional state changes. Okay. So continuously, as information comes in, it changes your internal representation, with further changes your emotional state. Now this emotional state will further change what? What do you think this emotional state will further change? It will further change your physiology. It will change how you look. It will change how you stand. It will change how you sit. It will change how you express your face. It will change whether you are sitting straight or whether you are lying down. It will change everything. Every change in an emotional state makes a change in your physiology. Some chemical changes and changes will happen in your body as well, in your physiology as well. Every change outside will lead to a change inside in your emotional state, further leading to a change in your body. Your body will express. You cannot not communicate. You will always communicate. Whether people can catch it or not is a different story, but your body will express that physical change. Sometimes very minutely, sometimes very openly. Fine. And this happens not only with you, but with everybody. So everybody's physical state changes based on the change in the emotional state. How good your calibration is will decide how much of that you can catch. Okay. Now this change in physiology will do what? It will change your behavior towards the outside world. When that physiology changes, that is how people get to know that a change has happened in you. And that is what your behavior does. It changes towards the outside world. Okay. Don't waste your time taking photos and screenshots and all. I'm going to share all of this with you. Okay. So any external event passes through those filters, changes your emotional state and your physiology and your behavior. Fine. Now imagine, looking at this picture, now imagine you are in communication with somebody. Do you think what you say is what that person receives? Do you think what you say is what that person receives? Definitely not. Because whatever you say is what you say, then it passes through the filters of that person, then it changes the emotional state, etc. And then affects the behavior and comes out. Now, these filters are not only inwards, they are also outwards. These filters also apply when you communicate outside. If somebody asks you, if I ask you, okay, how was your day yesterday? Type in the chat box, how was your day yesterday? Generally, people ask you, how was your day today? How are you doing today? But we have just started your day. So I will ask you about yesterday. How was your day yesterday? There you go. Some are saying normal, some are saying hectic, some are saying great, some are saying good, some are saying not good, some are saying busy, some are saying nice, tiring, jackass, not productive. So many answers, but all one word answers. Was your entire day like that? Was your entire day awesome? Was your entire day hectic? Did you not sleep at all? Was your entire day not productive? Did you do nothing productive at all? What you did is you recall that information and you thought इसको ज़्यादा detail देने की क्या ज़रूरत है? हाँ, it was good. You are not going to answer this question by saying, oh yes, yesterday I woke up at 6:30 in the morning and then I brushed my teeth and then I went for a bath and साबुन ही खत्म हो गया था तो वहाँ थोड़ा गड़बड़ हुआ and then I moved out, then I changed my clothes and then I wanted to get to my office and da 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 da. You're not going to go to that level of detail, right? Was good. What is that? You applying a filter based on who is asking the question, right? Now, if I ask you, how was your day? And you tell me good. So I asked you a question. You applied your filters while listening to the question. Then you applied these filters while giving out the answer. Now, when I listen to your answer, what am I doing? I am applying my filters. Now, I can be happy about your answer. Chalo, acha, his day was good. Very good. Good to know that your day was good. Or I can apply a filter which tells me just one word answer. What an attitude this guy has. Doesn't even talk properly. I can apply that filter. Or I can apply a filter which is, I had to ask that question out of formality. Good, he gave a one word answer. Otherwise, I had to listen to him. Or I can apply another filter. You don't know what filter I will apply. I don't know what filter you are applying. Okay. But different people will take different meanings out of that communication based on their filters. Does that make sense? Knowing and understanding people's filters can be very powerful. Do you agree? Yes. Can be very useful in communication. Okay, fine. Unfortunately, you will not know their filters. But there are few things that we will know. There are few things that we will know, and that will make a wonderful difference in the communication. Okay, we will see that as time passes. But do you get the point here? A lot of things happening outside, coming through our filters. Then we make a meaning out of it. It expresses through our body, knowingly or unknowingly, right? And that is how the other person sees it. And then their filters get applied, etc., etc. Fine. The primary thing that you need to understand here is you cannot not communicate. Either you will communicate by words. If you don't, by your eyes. If you don't, something about your body will communicate. Your breathing will change when your emotions changes. Your physiology will change. Something will happen. Okay. And a person who has good sensory acuity means who are more accurate with looking at their senses, with absorbing data from their senses, they will make out that something is wrong with you. Others may not be able to make out if it is very minute, but some people can make out even if it is very minute, right? That is because they understand how to look at sensory information without giving a meaning to it. The human mind is a meaning making machine. What are we? We are a meaning making machine. Anything that happens around us, we keep giving meaning to it. Okay, fine. So we will come to that. But do you get the point how the communication model works at a high level? Yes. I see some hands going up. We are going to have a Q&A session, but with this number of people in the meeting, if I allow questions in the middle, then probably we will never complete the course. So the way this is going to work is at the end of the day, we are going to have Q&A sessions. Okay, end of the session at 10 o'clock, we will have our Q&A session starting tomorrow, not today. Today, I'm going to leave you with something very powerful to think about, and I don't want that to be disturbed. Okay, fine. Now let's move on. So that was about the communication model of the mind. How does the human mind communicate? Okay. With that in your mindset, with that information with you, we will leave it here for you to process it for some time, and we will move to another topic. Okay, and then we will come back to this. Fine, but I want you to process this in the background for some time. Let it be there in the background. Let's come to another topic, another very important topic. We call it as the generative success model. Okay, generative success model. Give me a moment. Imagine you are a captain of a basketball team. You are a captain of a basketball team. Okay, you know basketball, all of you? I believe you know basketball. Okay, just in case you don't know, okay, here you are, something like this. Okay, imagine you are the captain of a basketball team. A match is about to begin. A basketball match is about to begin. You are the captain, and you get a call from one of your players, one of your team members. For some reason, that member cannot come. Let us say that member calls up and says, I am COVID positive, I cannot play today. I don't want to infect others, I am not coming. Okay. Fortunately, you have a spare player with you. There is an extra player with you. And you think, okay, I'll take the extra player. And you tell the extra player, you know what, so and so person called up, he is just tested positive, so he is not joining us today. You play him. This extra guy says, really? I was with him yesterday. I was partying with him yesterday evening. My goodness, I might be infected. And to save others, I am not playing either. Now you are short of one player. Okay. You don't have any more extra players. There are some people sitting there in the audience. Two people sitting in the front row. You think better to have somebody than nobody. And there are two people sitting in the front row. One of them looks like a tall 6 feet 3 inch height wala fellow. The other one is a short 5 feet wala fellow. Okay. And that's the only information you have, because that's all you see. You don't know these people. And you want to take one of them in your team. Whom will you take? The game is of basketball. Will you take the taller one or the shorter one? Type in the chat box. Majority is saying the taller one, right? But naturally, it's a game of basketball. You have to put the ball in the basket. It's now upper hai, it's so much up there. So height will be of advantage. So you choose to take the taller one, let's say. Okay. Now let us say you take the taller guy. Now you thought you will take the taller guy. Okay, you have not taken him yet. You thought you will take the taller guy. So you go and approach the taller guy. Okay. And you tell him, you know what, we are short of one player and we want one player in the team. Would you like to play with us? You're talking to the taller guy. The shorter guy is just there on the side. As you talk to the taller guy says, okay, maybe I'll join you. I've never played basketball before. I don't know. I don't even know if I can put the ball in the basket. I don't know how this works. I don't know if I have the stamina to play for so much time. And I don't know if I can aim the ball properly. I'm not very sure. Are you sure you want me? So his language is that of doubt. Fine. While you are listening to this person, the shorter guy on the side jumps into the conversation and says, how about me? Even I have not played before, but I am sure I can do it. That's all the shorter guy says. So you're listening to the taller guy is full of doubt. The shorter guy is full of confidence. And you still have some time to make your choice. Now with this much information, whom do you take as a captain? Shorter guy? That's what many of you are typing in. Because at least he's having some confidence. Right? So chance that now you will take the shorter guy goes higher. Now you are confused. This guy has height, that guy has confidence. What to do? You think I should take the shorter guy, but you still have some time before the match starts. So what you do is you give one ball to both the guys and tell them, go practice for a few minutes. I'll tell you whom I am taking in some time. And you observe them from a distance. Okay. You have chosen to take the shorter guy in your mind, but you still give them a ball and they both start practicing at two different baskets. Okay. You observe the taller guy. He takes the ball, he throws. Luckily, the ball enters the basket. Okay. And the taller guy is happy. He takes the ball again and he throws. Again, luckily, the ball enters the basket. And the taller guy starts thinking, Arey, it's easy. It's not as difficult as I thought. It seems to be an easy thing. He takes the ball again, he throws. 5 out of 7 times it goes in the basket. He builds a confidence. Then he starts dribbling. Then he starts moving around and throwing the ball. And he starts gaining that confidence. Okay. And he thinks, okay, it's not that difficult at all. I can do it. He starts getting that confidence because the ball is hitting the basket. Fine. While this is happening at one end, on the other end, the shorter guy is full of confidence. He throws the ball, it doesn't hit the basket. He says, that's fine. Once he's okay, he takes the ball, again throws, doesn't hit the basket. Again throws, doesn't hit the basket. 4 or 5 times it doesn't hit. And slowly the confidence starts breaking. Slowly this shorter guy starts thinking, no, not for me. Probably not my game. Ye mera kaam nahi hai. Etc. etc. Fine. And the confidence, and you can see it from his body language that the confidence is dropping down. The frustration is building up. And now it is about time to start the match. Now whom do you select? Now whom do you select? Again the taller one. Right? You see how every changing information keeps confusing you all the time? This happened before you got married? This one or that one, this one or that one. This happened before you bought a phone. This one or that one, this one or that one. Good screen, good camera, good screen, good camera, good memory, good this, good that. Fine. Anyways, that's not the point here. The point is, based on this information, you are making your choices. Now let us see how success works based on this example. Okay. At any given point in time, there is a certain belief that we have. When I asked you this question for the first time, all of you said taller guy. Most of you said taller guy. I will go with the taller guy. Because you had a belief, basketball means height is required. You didn't have enough information of the game, but there was some belief basketball means height is required. So generally things start with a belief. Okay. With that belief, a potential is created. Now, unfortunately, this taller guy had a belief that he cannot hit the ball. The shorter guy had a belief that I can do it. Fine. Based on that, their potentials were derived. Less potential to the taller guy, more potential to the shorter guy. When potential is figured out, we take action. Based on the potential we think we have, we take action. As we take this action, once we take some action, something happens. Whenever you take an action, some outcome will come, right? Some result will happen. So this action leads to results. And this result will further lead to a belief. So the taller guy had a belief that he cannot throw the ball. Yet he was given the ball because tall itself was a good potential. He took some action, he threw the ball. The result was positive. The ball hit the basket. His belief started changing. I can play basketball. On the other side, the shorter guy had a belief that I might play. That potential was also seen. He was given the ball. He threw the ball. The ball didn't hit the basket a few times. The result was that the ball missed the basket and the belief changed that I cannot play basketball. And this way goes in a circle all the time. Sometimes this happens by accident, unknowingly. Sometimes this happens knowingly. Sometimes you need to do something, so you start doing it. Sometimes it just happens from you. Okay. Sometimes you think you cannot jump from 10 feet height, but some emergency happens in your room and you jump from your terrace on the first floor and you realize, I can jump. So different events will happen that will create different results and change your beliefs. Sometimes you may have a belief, I cannot start a business. And you just have to manage some friend's shop for a few minutes and you are able to convert a couple of customers and you realize, I can do a business. Sometimes you think I'll do very good business. You start, unfortunately things go wrong and your belief changes. I am not designed for business. Different things that you want to do in life always follow this cycle. It can begin with potential, begin with action, begin with result, or begin with belief. It can begin anywhere in this cycle and then go into the cycle. Sometimes you don't know what you can do, but somebody else sees the potential in you. Somebody else sees that there is a certain potential that can be worked on. They give you some task, you see the result, your belief gets developed, and then you go into it. This is the generative success cycle. Everything in your life that you have done, think about it. Go back to your past and think about it. It either started with a belief or with a potential or with an automatic action or an accidental action that you took. It generated some results, positive or negative, then changed your beliefs for positive or negative, and you moved forward. You've experienced this, all of you? Yes. So this cycle is always at work. Now, relate this cycle with what happened before. There's a good question here. Why do we sometimes take impulsive decisions? We know this asking, why do we take impulsive decisions? What is an impulsive decision? These two words, impulsive and automatic, what do they mean? without filtering, without generalization, not at all. Impulsive means completely filtered, completely generalized. 100% work of filters is happening. Nothing is happening consciously, but you are doing it subconsciously, right? Subconsciously. So filters are still working. The only thing is it becomes so quick that you think you did nothing. Actually, you still did a lot of things. When I say automatic, fine, for example, I send you a link to join the meeting and I tell you, you just click on the link, everything else is automatic. Automatic means what? Automatic means you did nothing, but somebody did, right? Something did, right? You clicked on the link, some application opened the Zoom, then there is some server sitting on Zoom connecting you with me. So things are happening, just that you don't do anything. For you, it is automatic. Nothing is really automatic. There is something or somebody continuously at work, just that you don't have to work, so it becomes automatical for you, right? If you have money in your savings bank account, do you get interest on it? Yes. How do you get interest? Oh, automatically it comes at the end of the month or end of the quarter, end of the year. Automatically means what? You did nothing, but somebody did it, right? Some system, some automation, some person, somebody behind the screen did it. Similarly, impulsive means something inside you is doing it, just that you are not aware of it. And even how impulsive decisions are taken, we are going to see in the last session of this course. When we say impulsive, even there is a strategy at work inside you. What exactly happens before that decision is taken and how you can interrupt that decision there. That also we are going to see, but that will be in the last session of this, in the 10th session. Okay, fine. Coming back. Now relate this success cycle with what you saw before, the communication model of the mind. When things happen, when you take action, some result happens, it affects your beliefs. This belief then changes your filters, right? It changes your values sometimes. For example, you might have known people who had a certain value in life. This should always happen like this, right? And then something happens in their life which completely shatters that value. And then they change their value, right? Somebody thinks never hit a person. Ahimsa is the best policy, etc., etc. Something drastic happens. This guy is not able to manage all the hinsa coming towards him. Eventually gives it back and thinks, and once he gives it back, the other party stops hurting him. And he thinks, nahi re, ahimsa didn't work. Hinsa is better. Non-violence didn't work for so many years. One violent act and I am done. So he changes his beliefs. Violence is better. On the other side, there may be another person who is trying violence after violence. It is not helping him. One day he tries non-violence and it works for him or her. And he thinks non-violence is better. So values change, beliefs change, attitude changes based on how things happen to you. Fine. And that again takes you into the generative success model. Make sense? Now, whatever you are going to learn here in NLP, you're going to learn a few things. Some things will sound very logical. You'll be like, हाँ, यही तो चाहिए था. This is what I wanted to know. Some things will sound very illogical. You'll be like, hey, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. This is stupid. कुछ भी बोलता है. Some things will be like that also. How will you know whether it works or not? What is important to you? Whether something is logical or illogical, or whether something is useful or useless. What is important? Do you want to categorize things into logical or illogical? Or do you want to categorize things into useful or hurtful? Useful or hurtful, right? Logical hai ke nahi, how does it matter? But unfortunately, your beliefs, your values will first filter it on logic level. Without applying a few things, we make a decision already. This is not how it works. ऐसे नहीं होता है. Correct? Because that person is telling you based on that person's beliefs, you are receiving based on your beliefs or your filters, and there is a mismatch. Okay. So what I want you to understand here is some things require practice. Some things are automatic. Some things require a hell lot of practice. Some things require just awareness. Different things that you learn in NLP will require different levels of awareness, different levels of practice. Whether it is right for you or wrong for you should be decided ideally based on the result after action is taken. Don't just decide it based on your belief. Give it a chance. We are going to learn a lot of different methods and techniques for communication, for self betterment, etc., etc. All those techniques I want you to at least implement a few times to see the effect of it, and then make a decision whether it is for you or not. Again, I am not saying all the techniques are for you. Some will work for you, some may not work for you, or some may not excite you, or some may not just interest you. That's fine. But initially, at least give it at least put it into action to see the result. And then let the result change your belief rather than you creating automatic beliefs. Okay. So that takes us to the third topic of the morning. What are the different levels of learning? What are the different levels at which we are going to learn? At which we learn in general and then also in NLP. Fine. There are different stages of learning, different stages of having knowledge, different stages of knowing things. Fine. Now the first thing, the first level at which we learn is, do we know what we know? Do we know what we don't know? Do we know what we know? Do we know what we don't know? Then we don't know that we know, and we don't know that we don't know. Making sense? Absolutely not. Okay. First level, we call it unconscious incompetence. Okay. You don't know that you don't know. For example, a few days ago or a few months ago, did you know that there is a thing called NLP? No. A few years ago, maybe. Did you know that there is something called NLP? There was a time when you didn't knew that there is a thing called NLP, and you didn't knew that you don't know it. It was nowhere around you. Fine. You didn't knew that there is something called NLP, and you didn't knew that you didn't even know it. Fine. Then something happened. Some friend told you, "Arey, there is this thing called NLP. We must learn. Acha hai, aisa hai, vaisa hai." Then you knew something about NLP. Now you know NLP, but you don't know NLP. Means you know there is something called NLP, but you don't know what it is, how it works. So you know that you don't know NLP. Okay. Then you thought, let me learn. And you started learning NLP. You came to this class. Through these sessions, you will start knowing that you know NLP and you can use NLP. So the first stage is you know that you know. Fine. And then there is a fourth stage. You become so good at it, so automatic at it, so wonderful at it, that you don't even know that you know it. You just automatically do it. You don't have to be conscious about it. Okay. Let me give you with a relatable example now. Okay. When you were born, were you able to eat? No. Did you know that there is a thing called eating? You were not able to eat. There was no competence with you to eat. That is fine. But you were unconscious about it anyways. You didn't even know that there is a thing called eating. Right? So unconscious about the information and incompetent about the activity. Unconscious incompetence, level 1. Okay. You don't know that there is a thing called eating, and you couldn't eat either. A few months as you were growing up as a toddler, as a baby, you were observing people around you here and there, right? While taking care of you, mama is eating some nuts. While playing with you, papa is eating some papad khakra, whatever. Then you are lying down there on one side. Few people have something in a circular thing, and they are moving their hands, putting something in their mouth. You are wondering what it is. right? They are picking something, putting in their mouth. You are wondering what it is. Eventually, after a couple more months, you got to know that they are eating. Now you know what is eating. You are conscious of it, but still incompetent. You still cannot eat, right? Now you know there is a thing called eating, but you cannot eat. You don't have enough strength in your hands to pick something, enough control on your hands to exactly put it in your mouth. You don't have the teeth to chew it. Okay, so you have conscious incompetence. You are conscious that you are incompetent about eating. A couple more years in your life, you were taught how to eat, how to pick, how to tear the bread, how to apply sabji, how to eat, how to use a spoon. You were taught about it. Slowly you became what? Slowly you became what? Competent about it. Now you know what is eating and you are competent about it. Conscious competence. So what was the first level? Unconscious incompetence. Second was conscious incompetence. Third is conscious competence. You know what is eating and you can eat. You can be conscious about your eating. And a few more years into your life, eating became so automatic that you were walking in your home, you saw some cashew nuts on the table, you picked up 2 cashew nuts, you put it in your mouth, you ate them, you didn't even realize that you ate cashew nuts. It happened so automatically. टेबल पे समोसा पड़ा था, उठाया, खा लिया, पता भी नहीं चला. You only got conscious about it when you looked at yourself in the mirror. अरे इतना क्यों बढ़ रहा है? What's happening? Okay. Why am I putting on weight? You only become conscious when you are in front of the mirror, but otherwise it is all unconscious. Automatically you are eating. You are so competent now that unconsciously also you do it. That is what? Unconscious competence. So good at it that without being aware of it, you do it. Now go back to your life. Is that how many things that you are good at have been through? Maybe somebody here is an architect. There was a time when you didn't knew design and didn't knew there is thing called design. Then you got to know that there is design. Then you learn design. And now you're so automatic. Just when somebody says, I have taken a 200 square feet land here where there is a bungalow on the other side, your mind starts creating an architecture for it. Unconsciously. Right? Maybe one of you is a programmer here, a mobile application developer here. Same thing happens with you as well. Right? You had no idea about phones and apps, and then you learned about it. And today you're so good at it, when you see an app, your mind starts thinking automatically, this should be here, that should be there, this control should be here, that button should be there, da da da. Right? We all become automatic at what we practice. Fine? Practice makes a man. Type in the chat box. Practice makes a man. Chalo, fatafat, type in the chat box. Practice makes a man perfect. Kisne bola? What if the practice is wrong? Will the man become perfect? Man, woman, whatever? No. Will they become competent? No. Practice doesn't make a man perfect. Practice makes a man automatic. What does it do? It makes you automatic. What you consciously practice eventually becomes automatic. If the practice is wrong, that wrong thing will become automatic. If the practice is right, the right thing will become automatic. The bottom line is whatever you consciously practice eventually becomes ingrained in you and makes you automatic. Automatic means without you being consciously aware of it, you are doing it. Fine. Today you learned about filters in communication. Maybe something's triggered in your mind today. Acha, filters. That's the reason when I say this, my boss doesn't understand. Maybe he has a different filter sitting out there. God knows, etc., etc. Okay. Now you'll be aware of this. First few times you will be consciously taking care of how to communicate with your boss based on the filters. Eventually it will become so automatic that without you being aware, you will still communicate with the person in a manner that the person understands. Right? So whatever you will learn here in NLP will eventually become automatic. After what? After you Practice. Now, unfortunately, the word practice is very heavy in our dictionary. Every time somebody tells you, Abhi, now you have to practice to get good at it. What does that mean? What is the meaning of practice in your mind? What is the internal representation of practice in your mind? A lot of hard work, setting aside time to do it. Already 24 hours are not enough. Now find an extra hour to do this. Consciously do this. Repeat it again and again. Fine tune it. Unnecessarily, we have given a lot of heavy weightage to the word practice. Practice means do it. Simple. Do it, see the results. That's it. And you don't have to find time to practice. Go to the original word meaning of the word practice. Practice means doing. If there is a practicing doctor, okay, if you meet a doctor and ask him, you introduce to a doctor, the doctor says, I am a practicing psychologist or I'm a practicing surgeon. Does that mean every day he takes a body for practice? चल आजा बेटा आज तेरे पे प्रैक्टिस करता हूँ, थोड़ा काटता हूँ, सीता हूँ, I'll cut you, I'll put you back. That's not what they do, right? They are just doing their work. That is what practice is. A practicing chartered accountant. Does that mean every day he takes a dummy balance sheet and works on it just to practice? No, he's doing his job. Practice means be aware of what you know and implement it in your day-to-day life. Okay. Certain things require explicit practice. If you want to build some muscles, you'll have to do explicit exercise. You have to find time, effort, energy, money, everything and do it. Certain things practice only means you do it in your routine work. Okay. Everything that you will learn here in NLP, everything can be done in your routine work. Whatever you have learned till now. For example, I taught you generative success model. Beliefs will change potential, that will affect the action, that will create a result which will further impact the belief. Now, do you need to sit and practice this? You just have to be aware of this. Next time when a result comes, this result is one-off. It should not affect my belief. Let me do it again. Or this result is the reality. Let it change my belief. That is fine. Either ways, are you aware of it? That's it. Okay. So, practice here means just being aware and using it at the moment in your regular communication. We are not going to give you any activity that requires explicit practice. Everything will be in your day-to-day communication. Simply being aware and doing it. Okay, clear? So far, so good. So we saw three things. We saw the communication model of the mind, how the human mind communicates, how filters are applied while we are taking information and while we are giving information, both. Okay. Second, we saw the generative success model. And third, we saw the stages of learning. Unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and then unconscious competence. There is a fifth stage as well, which goes beyond it, but we are not going to bother with that in this course. For this course, these four stages are more than enough. Okay. So that was how we shape up things around us. Now, all of this put together, all this information put together, let's have a look at another very important thing in NLP. What are the ultimate parameters of success? So can you quickly define what is success? In your opinion, what is success? Type in the chat box. Lots of money in the bank account. Achieving something. Goals. Work completed. Achieving your goals. Feeling worthy. Recognition. Whatever you like. Achieving the desired results. Could be goal achieved. Growth in myself. Satisfaction. Happy in any situation. Happiness and satisfaction. Meeting deadlines. Fulfillment. Content and happy. Expectations are met. Creating balance between dreams and responsibilities. My goodness. Result of work. Okay. achieving what you want and doing well, peace within. Okay. Do you see that different people have different idea of success? Different people are thinking differently about success. Is it the same with every other thing also? If I ask you, is cola good for you? Is soda good for you? All these thumbs up, Mountain Dew, Pepsis, etc. Are they good for you? Some will say yes. Some will say no. Some will say sometimes yes. Some will say many times yes. Sometimes no. Good for fun, not good for health. Da 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 da. Different people will give different answers. Every person, listen very carefully, okay? This is a game-changing sentence. Every person has a different model of the world. Every person has a different model of the world. And every person always does everything right for that person's model of the world. Every person has a different model of the world, and every person always does what is right for that person's model of the world. The way you have modeled your world is different. The way somebody else has modeled the world is different. What you do is right for your model. What that other person does is right for your model. Sometimes these both actions are complementing each other. So you think you're going good with each other. Sometimes these two actions are against each other and you think there is a conflict. Everybody always does everything with a positive intention. Everybody always does everything with a positive intention towards that person's model of the world. Let me ask you this. Does a soldier kill with a positive intention or with a negative intention? Does a soldier kill with a positive intention or a negative intention? Positive intention. Okay. Does a terrorist kill with a positive intention or a negative intention? From your perspective, it may be negative, but what is the intention of the terrorist? What is in that person's model of the world, in that person's mind? I am doing good for my community, for my belief, for my God, for my this, for my country, for my whatever. Right? In his mind, he is doing it for a right reason. That reason doesn't apply with you, doesn't concur with you. So you think it is negative. I am not supporting terrorism here, by the way. What I am telling you is every person always does everything with a positive intention in that person's model of the world. If you want to make a change in the person, you need to first know what is the model of the world of that person. You will never know it completely, but at least you should have a fair idea. Then you can enter that model of the world and make some changes. Changing a person without changing the model of the world is very difficult. But if you can impact or influence the model of the world of that person, you automatically change that person. Okay? Every person has a different model of the world, and every person always does everything with a positive intention towards that person's model of the world. Fine? When you ask a child to drink milk and the child says, nahi chahiye doodh mujhe. In your model of the world, milk is good. Because your model of the world says you should develop your child, usko healthy banana hai, acha banana hai, etc. etc. Right? In the child's model of the world, health doesn't exist. What is good for me depends on whether it is tasty or not. Khatam. If I like the taste, it is good for me. Done. If I don't like the taste, it is bad for me. Health and all these things come later in life. So for the child, ye hatao isko. Nahi chahiye. Then you identify what does the child like. He likes chocolate. Okay, chalo Bournvita dal diya दूध में. Chocolate milk, brown milk. Now the child has it. So what did you do? You adhered to the model of the world of the child. Getting me? Or sometimes you don't want to add these chemicals into the milk, so you change it the other way around. You change the cup. That child likes, let's say, Doraemon or Chota Bhim. Now you buy a cup which has Doraemon on it, and the child will drink. Same milk. So what is the child liking? Not the milk, but the cup. Fair enough. Milk to ja raha hai. For you, this way or that way, he's drinking milk na. That is important. Your model of the world. Child's model of the world. Doraemon mein hai na, I will drink. You give me milk, you give me water, you give me juice, I will drink. Regular glass, I am not drinking. You give me what I like, that also I am not drinking. Different people will look at things differently. For somebody, the content is important. For somebody, the container is important. For somebody who is giving is important. For somebody, my health is important. But they are all right in their sense. Now, why am I telling you this is a game-changing sentence? Because the moment you accept this fact, you are automatically at peace with everybody. The moment you accept, I think this is right, but fair enough, that person thinks that is right in his model. Just that it is not right in my model. What that person thinks, I think is wrong, but as per my model of the world, not as per that person's model of the world. The moment you accept it, now that doesn't mean you go out in the world from today, become a Buddha. Jo karna hai karo, do what you want to do, your model of the world, I don't give a damn about it. That's not what I mean here. What I mean here is at least it puts you at peace. When you are at peace, you can think properly. Now you can think, what can I do to influence a change in the other person rather than forcing a change? When you are not at peace, you will be frustrated and you will be forcing a change. When you are at peace, you will be thinking constructively, positively, what is the right route to enter this person's mind and make that change. Once you accept this fact that everybody has their model of the world and they do what is right for their model of the world, you start changing the model of that person rather than changing the person. And that is an easier way to make a change happen. Okay. So with these pieces of information, let's take a quick small break here. Before I give a break, there's a very important announcement. We have a very stupid habit. We, as in me and my set of trainers, we have a very stupid habit. When we say something will start at a certain time, we start at that time. Not 1 minute early, not 1 minute late. So we're going to take a break here. It is 8:25 right now. We will start again at 8:45. 20 minutes should be good enough for you to do whatever you want to do, including breakfast, bath, whatever you want to do in the morning. Okay. But 8:45 is 8:45. I respect your time, so I will not make it 8:46. I respect my time, so I will not make it 8:44. It will be 8:45. You have to be here at 8:45. If for any reason you come back and tell me, I missed this, I missed that, can you repeat? No, I will not repeat. Okay. Because then 200 people have to listen to that repetition. So I will not repeat. Make sure you are here at 8:45 a.m. sharp. Okay. 20 minutes from now. Take care. Welcome back. Okay, all set? Already good to start? Super. So let's have a quick look at how this entire thing about NLP started. Okay, what is NLP, how it all started. So one question that when people ask, what is NLP? Fine. The easiest way we found to answer it is by asking a counter question. What is mathematics? Can you type in what is mathematics? Question to all of you. Everybody type in the chat box. What is mathematics? Counting, calculation, logic with numbers, skills, tool for calculation, numbers, science, accuracy expressed in numbers, calculation. Keep on proving what is assumed. Correct. It's a way of living. Okay. Applying theories to numbers. Okay. Life, focus, analytical method. Good. So many different responses to a simple question. What is mathematics? Somebody says it's a headache. Kanak says it's a headache. Venkat says it is logic. It's a number game. William says mathematics is everything. Right? So different people giving different responses to the same question. William says it's a solution to many. Rimple thinks it is to express physics. It is a way to express physics. एक mathematics कम था जो physics ले आए. Okay. Uma says it is nature. Fine. So just like how mathematics is different to different people. For some people, it is a way of life. Some people, it is reality. For some people, it is nature. Just like mathematics is different things to different people, NLP is different things to different people. There are multiple definitions to NLP. I'm going to give you some definitions here. Let me just share them on my screen. Some of the renowned definitions. So here are some definitions. Read through them for a moment. Read through them. Okay. So subjective experience, study of subjective experience and what can be calculated from it. That's Richard Bandler, one of the founders of NLP. Practice of understanding how people organize their thinking, their feeling, their language and their behavior to produce the results that they want to produce. John Grinder, another founder of NLP. NLP provides people with a methodology to model outstanding performances achieved by geniuses and leaders in their field. So these are some nice and complicated definitions of NLP, although very powerful and very useful definitions of NLP. Okay. The way we look at NLP is simply by saying NLP is the difference, studying the difference that makes the difference. Studying the difference that makes the difference. So how did it all start? Okay. There were a few people. I'm not going to name all of them because it will confuse you unnecessarily. But a lot of wonderful researchers and psychologists who were observing people and seeing that what they do is kind of similar to what some people are doing, and some other things that they do are similar to some other things that other people are doing. And when they do a similar thing in a similar environment, they get a similar result. Okay. When they do something similar to another person in a similar environment, they get a similar result. And they realized maybe this can be modeled. So let us say one of you is a very good batsman. If I want to be a good batsman, can I model you? Can I see how you stand? Can I see how you hold the bat? Can I ask you, can I learn from you what all you do to do good batting so that I can also do good batting like you? Fine. Now, when they wanted to do this, they realized there is some information that they can get by themselves. I can look at Sachin Tendulkar and I can see how he stands, how he holds a bat, and I can start practicing that. Some things I may not know how Sachin is doing. Okay. For example, if he's wearing a full shirt and some wristband and everything, I may not know exact what angle his wrist is at when he's holding the bat. But can I ask this information to him and get that information if I have access to him? Yes. So one level of information is what I know by seeing or by observing the person. Second level of information is what that person tells me. Fine. The third level of information can still be there, which even that person doesn't know. Can there be a few things that you are very good at and even you don't know how you happen to do it? Have you heard, have you been in an experience where you ask somebody, how did you do this? How do you manage this? How do you drive so well? How do you play so well? How do you cook so well? And that person says, bas naturally ho jata, it happens. I don't do anything special for it. It just happens. Have you heard this? Many times, even you have said this many times where you are good at. There are a few things that even the person who does it doesn't know. And then NLP comes into play to identify what even that person doesn't know. And they came up with a concept for modeling. How do you model what a person is doing, implement that model on somebody else so that person can also do it? Okay. So as a research study, what they did is they first applied it on a set of shooters. So in the US Army, there is a exam for shooting as well when you are a part of the US Army or when you want to get into the US Army. In this exam, a few people would pass, a few people would fail. Okay. So let's say there's a shooting test going on and their standard rate of people who will pass the test was about 27%. 27% people would pass the test on an average. They wanted to improve these results. So these two founders of NLP, okay, Bandler and Grinder, they went there and they first were given all the lecture. This is what we do. This is how we train them. This is what we teach them. This is how we ask them to stand. Da, 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 da. They listened to all that information, kept it aside. They said, if you want to improve the result, the best people to learn from. Who are the best people to learn from? There's a shooting test going on. Okay. Some people are passing, many people are failing. There are some teachers, some trainers, etc., around you. Who are the best people to learn from? They said the best people to learn from are the ones who have passed. Okay. So they put all the manuals aside and they simply observed and interviewed and questioned and interrogated, deeply questioned people who are passing the test. And they also saw how they stand, what they do, what's happening in their mindset, what kind of thoughts they have, etc., etc. They analyzed all of that. Then they created a model. They gave that model to those who were failing or to everybody else and asked them to implement that model. And the passing percentages went up. What do you think could be the new passing percentage after they did the first such exercise? Type in the chat box. It was initially 27%. Double, okay, 80%, 50%, 50, more than 50, 35, okay, it was 100%. In the next batch, everybody passed. All they did is they figured out what are the ones who are passing doing, identified what is right, what is common out of it, gave it to everybody, made all of them do it, and everybody passed. So what did they do? They modeled success. They modeled success. Very simple. Fine. If one person, the basic assumptions or the basic presupposition, as we call it, this will come later in the course. One of them is, if one person can do it, anybody can do it. If one person can do it, anybody can do it. Now you may think, ha, so if Dhirubhai Ambani can become India's richest person, I can also become. Anything you're talking. He had so many resources. I have no resources. Go back to his original life, his early life. Even he had no resources. Another principle that we'll talk about later is everybody always has all the resources they need. Everybody always has access to all the resources that they need. How and what, we'll come to that later. Okay. So this is just a brief history of NLP. And then when these things started, first initially it was by accident, then by observation, and then two wonderful people, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, they came together and put the entire concept together and called it neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro-linguistic programming. Fine. So what is neuro-linguistic programming then? Let's have a look at the breakup of the words. Neuro means your neurons. What's in your brain? Your thinking process. The way your senses understand what is happening around you is your thinking. Correct? New information comes to you, gets sensed from your senses, gets merged into your existing memory. That is neurons. How you think is neuro. Linguistic is the language, your words. The way you use your language to influence you and to influence others. That is linguistic. And programming is nothing but your behavior. How do you behave? When I say behave, I don't mean that social meaning of the word behave, but overall your behavior. The way you organize your ideas and actions. So ideas come from thinking, but actions to produce the results, either expected or unexpected. And if you put these three together, if your thinking is right, you can communicate very well and your behavior is the right behavior for that activity, for that goal, for that task. What you have done is you have understood the art and science of success. So neuro-linguistic programming, we also call it as the art and the science of success. It is an art, it is also a science. You have to master both the art and the science. Science is about knowing, art is about doing. You know neuro-linguistic programming is one thing and you are able to implement and use it is another thing. When you do both, that will create success for you. Okay, so neuro is your thinking, language is your communication, behavior is your actions. When these three things are right, many things go right. Okay, so that's what neuro-linguistic programming is for the technical terms. Now, neuro-linguistic programming says there are three primary pillars to success. Three primary pillars to success. Okay, anything that you want to do and you observe successful people around you, you will find these three things in common. Okay, let's have a look at what these three pillars are. At a high level, we'll first look at the names of the pillars and then we will go into them one by one. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay, so what are these pillars? The top three secrets of success. Number one, outcome orientation. How good you are or how well you know and how much inclined you are towards your outcome. How well you know your outcome, how inclined you are to get that outcome. Number two, sensory awareness. Are you well aware of what your senses are receiving before you make a meaning? Number three, behavioral flexibility. How flexible you are with your behavior. These are the top three secrets of success or top three pillars of success. Outcome orientation. Are you inclined to get the outcome, whatever it takes? Sensory acuity or sensory awareness. Do you understand what is happening around you the way it is happening, not the way you are thinking about it? And behavioral flexibility. Are you flexible enough to change your behavior to do whatever it takes to achieve the outcome? Okay. Now let's do a quick exercise before I elaborate on this further. Let's do a quick exercise. Okay. I'm going to share a picture here on the screen. And this exercise is very important. So I want everybody to participate. Right now there are 220 people. So I want everybody to type in the chat box. Okay. Very important exercise. I'm going to share a picture. I want you to type in the chat box. What do you see on your screen? Okay. Here you go. Type in the chat box. What do you see on your screen? Anger, angry man, accusation, angry person, angry man, discrimination, screaming, foreigner man, blaming somebody, pointing, scolding, giving instructions, screaming, irritation, go, angry foreigner, aggression, disturbed pressy, motivating, disgusting, blaming, anger, shouting, face chanting, shouting, frustrated, frustration, man pointing at me, victim, cheering someone with direction. Okay, hold on, stop typing. Everybody stop typing. Stop typing. Stop typing. Listen to my question carefully and answer it again in the chat box. Listen to my question very carefully. What do you see on the screen? What do you see? A picture, a person, colors, a man pointing finger, finger pointing at you, a man, photo, a bald man pointing finger. Do you see an emotion, Tanmay? Really? Do you see an emotion? Man with angry face. Do you see an angry face? Frustration. Do you see frustration really? Man face, mustache, nose, ears, teeth, beard. Okay. Frustrated. How do you know he's frustrated? A bald man pointing finger and speaking something. Okay, interesting. Blaming. How do you know the person is blaming? Can this person be a coach of a hockey team who is pointing to somebody? You go there and hit the ball. You move here. Can he be motivating somebody? Looking at the picture now, think, can this person be motivating somebody? Can this person be saving somebody from an accident right now by giving some instructions from outside? Get here, get there, come this side. Possible? So what did we do when we saw the picture? As soon as we saw the picture, as soon as that information came through your senses, your filters got applied in your belief systems. If the eyes are shrunk and if the person is pointing, means the person is angry or frustrated. And you immediately gave a meaning to this picture. Right? You immediately gave a meaning to that picture. I told you earlier, the human mind is a meaning making machine. Right? We keep making meanings. Anything happens around you, we instantly make a meaning. Nothing wrong with making meanings, but probably not instantly. Can we take one moment to pause, one moment, and know that there could be multiple possibilities? I'm not saying never give a meaning. Of course, you have to give meanings, otherwise you will go crazy. Right? But at least can we appreciate that this is the meaning that I am giving? There can be more meanings possible. The meaning that I am giving is not necessarily the only meaning or the right meaning. There can be more meanings. Can we simply sit back for a moment and appreciate this fact? Yes, I am giving a meaning. I have to give a meaning. Fair enough, but this is not necessarily the right meaning or the only meaning. Just by looking at that one person, within a moment, not even a moment, less than a moment, your mind made a decision. What is this person? Right? Angry. frustrated, etc., etc. The human mind is a meaning-making machine, and these meanings sometimes are right, sometimes are wrong, sometimes are different than what is expected to be. What can you do to become aware of this? Simply take a moment and appreciate, I have given this meaning. That's it. How many times has it happened with you that somebody said something with a good intention, you took it wrongly in another meaning? And you, when that person started explaining, you rejected that, saying, nahi, 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 I know this is what you did. आपने जो किया उसका यही मतलब होता है. This is what it means. There is no other meaning. How many times have you done that? How many times have other people done that to you? You did something with some good intention. The other person took it the other way. You made a compliment. The other person thought it's a comment. And then how much ever you explain, that person says, no, 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 this is not the meaning. See the point? So it's very important to understand that there will be different meanings to different things. Okay? Clear? Now, what is the purpose of this exercise? This exercise talks about sensory awareness. What do you see? I see a bald man pointing a finger, probably shouting at somebody. It can mean he's angry at somebody. It can mean he's motivating somebody. It can mean he's saving somebody. It can mean he's actually practicing some acting. It can mean anything. I don't know. Knowing that I don't know, and I am making a meaning, a probable meaning out of it, and being in that awareness can put you at peace. Okay? Now you'll say, "Aise thodi na jiyenge yaar. Every time this is my meaning, this is my meaning." What nonsense. What will it do? It will keep you at peace when you realize there were other meanings. Number one. Number two, it will let you think in multiple directions. Number three, it will help you avoid conflicts. And number four, when it happens to you, when it happens by you, you can still be in awareness. When it happens to you, you said something, but the other person gave a different meaning. That time you will know, okay, that's from his model of the world. In somebody's model of the world, this means angry. In somebody else's model of the world, this is motivating. In somebody else's model of the world, this is disciplining. Right? Sensory awareness, a very important pillar in success, tells you to be aware of what happened, not what you think what happened. Okay? Being aware of what happened is very different than knowing what you think about what happened. You have to make some meaning. I'm not denying that. But can you take that moment out to just appreciate there can be more meanings? Mine is not the only meaning. Okay? How many people thought when the pandemic happened and when the first lockdown was declared, from today midnight, nobody can move out? Different people gave different meaning. Some people thought, finally I get a break in life. I can sit at home and do something. Some people thought, gaya re, main to doob gaya re, I am gone. What will happen? How will I take care of my business? Some people thought, who will do my dishes tomorrow? Kal bartan kaun dhoega? Some people thought it's a wonderful opportunity to learn. Some people thought it's a wonderful opportunity. I have so much backlog of watching movies. 100 movies are pending. I'll watch them. Both are right in their models of the world. I'm not saying learning is right and watching movies is wrong. No, I'm not saying that. But different people looked at the same information differently. Now, if somebody is watching movies and if you think he's wasting such a wonderful opportunity to learn, you are giving your meaning to it. Maybe for that person, entertainment was more important. He was missing it for so much. He has worked so hard in his life that entertainment was important. Let him fill that gap. Right? So there is this, just on the sideline, there is this story about Swami Vivekananda. I don't know if it's a true story or not, but they say this is what happened with him. There was a professor who asked him, if you are walking on the road and there are two bags, one is full of money and the other is full of wisdom, which one will you pick? One is full of money, the other is full of wisdom. And he asked Swamiji, what will you pick? Swamiji knows he is asking out of an ill intention. So Vivekananda says, I will pick the bag of money. Swami Vivekananda says, I will pick the bag of money. That professor says, I thought so. I thought you have low IQ. If I was in your place, I would have put the bag of wisdom. Swamiji said, I understand. People take what they don't have. People take what they don't have. I don't have money, so I'll take money. You don't have wisdom, you go and take wisdom. I have enough wisdom. Right? So the point is, people are right in their own worlds. I'm not saying always accept it. Somebody, let us say you have a business, you sell ice cream, let's say. Okay. Your ice cream costs 100 rupees. Somebody says 100 is too much, give me for 20. Now you don't sit behind the counter and think he's right in his world. Le bhai 20 mein le le. Somebody says you should give ice cream for free. You're right in your world. Take for free. Then your world will go for a toss. I'm not saying accept people's models of the world. I am saying just accept that people have their models of the world. Okay, good. So that was one pillar, sensory acuity, sensory awareness. Okay, let's do one more quick exercise. What happens when you have sensory awareness? When you start being aware of what is coming to you. Can I have a volunteer for this? Somebody who can switch on your camera and raise your hand. I'll choose you as a volunteer. Okay, Naved Khan has chosen to be a volunteer. Naved, please unmute yourself. Okay.
Yeah. So, good morning, sir.
Very good morning. So me and Naved are going to do an exercise and all of you just be an observer. Okay. Avoid giving meanings. Your mind will still give meanings, but see to it that you avoid. Fine. So Naved.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you to do some counting. Okay. And others will observe the way you count. Fine. I'm going to put the spotlight on Naved so you all can see him as well. Okay. Naved, think of a person that you like a lot. Think of a person that you like a lot. And count from 1 to 10 loudly. We should be able to hear, not in your mind, but you should be able to hear. While you keep that person in your mind, count 1 to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, thank you. Naved, now think of a person that you hate a lot or that you dislike a lot. Okay. With that person in your mind, count from 1 to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay. So I believe all of you heard him. Okay. Naved. These two people that you are thinking about, one of them has longer hair than the other.
Yes.
Or more hair than the other.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know which person is it. Whichever person you think has longer hair than the other, keep that person in mind and again count 1 to 10.
Loudly.
Out of these two people, who has longer hair? It could be the one you like or it could be the one you dislike. We don't know. Keep that person in mind and again count 1 to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Everybody make a guess. Is it thinking of the person he likes or dislikes? Majority people are thinking you're talking about the person you dislike. Some are saying like, majority is saying dislike. So what is it, Navid? What were you thinking of? This person with longer is the one you like or you dislike?
Like.
the one you like. Okay, good. Now, one of these person stays nearer to you than the other.
Okay.
One of this person stays nearer to you than the other. Think of that person. While that person is in your mind, count 1 to 10.
Nearer to you means
Closer to you, distance wise.
distance wise. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Type in the chat box, people. Is he thinking of the person he likes or dislikes? Almost mixed responses.
ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग वो दोनों चीजें एक साथ करना मेरे लिए थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो रहा है मतलब कॉन्स्टेंटली मैं उस पिक्चर को माइंड में नहीं रख पा रहा हूँ तो बीच बीच में आ रहा है जा
हाँ
रहा है
ठीक
तो
है, that is fine,
हाँ
that is fine.
मतलब इज दैट नॉर्मल
Doesn't matter, doesn't matter.
या
Okay. So here the
मल्टीटास्किंग तो नहीं
responses are
करना
mixed. Here the responses are mixed.
हम्म
What was the second person? Likes or dislikes?
लाइक्स लाइक
Likes. Now, thank you, Navid.
थैंक यू सर
Okay. You can mute yourself.
यस
Okay. Spotlight back on me. Okay. What did you do in this exercise, everybody? Can we read into his mind what is happening? What is he thinking? Who is he thinking about? Can we see what's happening in his mind? No. But can we start seeing how he is thinking? Do you saw some way to make a guess? Did you get some way to get inside him? What parameters did you use when you were making this guess, whether he's talking of the person he likes or the person he dislikes? What parameters were you using? You used two parameters probably, either the pitch of the sound or the speed of counting, correct? Or you probably looked at his face as well. If you observed really carefully, when he was talking about the person he dislikes, he was moving his ring finger. His hand was like this and he was doing this. But he didn't do this when he was talking of the person he likes. Now, the more carefully you look, the more you will know. Okay? The role of sensory acuity. Now, when you start being aware of sensory information, you start looking at things in their perspective, not in your perspective. Somebody else may think, doesn't like means some negative emotion is happening, means breathing will be fast, so his counting will be fast. So whenever anybody is counting fast, he is thinking of a person he doesn't like. This becomes generic thinking. This becomes your model of the world or my model of the world. But knowing how Navid thinks can be different. And first calibrating him. First listening to him when he's in a good mood and knowing how he talks, how he behaves, how his facial expressions or how his body moves when he's in a good mood. Then knowing how Navid talks, behaves, etc. when he's in a bad mood. And keeping this information, remembering it with me, can help me understand in a future situation whether he is in a good mood or not. Now you may wonder, Navid ka mood kaisa hai, jaan ke main kya karu? What interest do I have in his mood? Okay, fair enough. How about knowing your boss's mood? Calibrating your boss when he is happy about some result, how his body language is. Calibrating your boss when he's not happy about something, what his body language is, what his tone is, what his speech is, and keeping this information with you. One day you want to go and ask for a leave or an appraisal or some special request, new laptop or whatever. You go inside. Before you ask for this request, you talk about something here and there. Listen to the pitch, listen to the voice. अरे ये तो good mood वाला voice है. Make the request. ये तो bad mood वाला voice है. I just came, I was passing by, so I thought of meeting you and greeting you. Thank you. Request कल. आज नहीं. आज mood खराब है. Not only with your boss, but with your big boss. I mean, your spouse. Generally, this applies to males. So for your wife. Generally बोला है मैंने, नहीं तो immediately attack कर दोगे मुझ पे. Not always. Okay. Get the point? Vinod is saying in today's remote world, it can be difficult to gauge this much information. Vinod, you answered your own question. You said it is difficult. You didn't say it is impossible. Anything that is difficult, how does it become easy? By doing it, by practicing it. You keep doing this. Initially, it will be difficult. Your mind will get tuned to it. It will become easier. And eventually, it will be so tuned that it will become automatic. Without you consciously thinking of it, you will be capturing this information. Okay. So keep doing it. That's it. Now, knowing, keeping your sensory acuity alive, keeping your sensory awareness alive is very important for these pillars of NLP. What does this do? If you go back to the pillars of success, the central pillar was your sensory awareness. Now let's talk about the other two pillars, outcome orientation and behavioral flexibility. Outcome orientation means what? What is important to be outcome oriented? First, very important, to know what your outcome is. To know what your outcome is. Generally, when you are confused about two choices in life, you have two job offers. Which one do I take? Which phone do I buy? Which car do I purchase? Generally, you will see when you are confused of the two, you are confused with your outcome to begin with. You are confused too with your outcome. When you know clearly what is your outcome, this confusion is automatically gone. For example, there are two job offers. One is offering better money. The other is very closer to your home. So you will save a lot of time in commute. Now you think for yourself, why am I doing this job? What am I going to achieve by doing this job? Either of these. What am I working for? You may be at a certain point, you may be at a situation in your life where building finance is more important. Making more money is more important. That time when you know clearly money is more important, everything else I am willing to travel, I'll do everything for it. You'll naturally choose the first job. Sometime in your life when you have a certain decent amount of money, you may think giving time to my family is more important. I am doing all this for my family. Lesser money to lesser money, I'll take the other job. When the outcome is clear, you can make a choice. When the outcome is not clear, you will continuously switch between these two. Money is important, but life is also important. Yes, but money is important. Yes, but life is also important. Tuck, tuck, tuck. You'll keep switching. When the outcome is not known, the direction is not known. First thing is knowing your outcome, towards outcome orientation. Whatever goal you set for yourself, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to do you know what your outcome is? And after you know your outcome, are you oriented towards it? That orientation happens through behavioral flexibility. Do you have the flexibility in your behavior to achieve the outcome? Sometimes you want to achieve an outcome which will go against your behavior. It requires you to do a few things against your behavior. That time if you say, I am not that type of a person, then what will happen? Okay, keep the outcome aside. Either you stick to the outcome or you stick to your behavior. Sometimes you will be lucky that your behavior supports your outcome. That those days you will be lucky. But there will be times when either you stick to the outcome or to the behavior. You cannot say both. You cannot say I want to win a marathon, but I am a lazy person. I don't like to run. You'll throw away the outcome or you throw away your behavior. Either of the two you'll have to throw away, right? When you know that you want to achieve an outcome, you have to be flexible with your behavior. Now let's take these three pillars with a technical example. Imagine you want to go from one place to another. You don't know the route, so you open Google Maps, right? What is the first thing that Google Maps will ask you? What is the first thing that Google Maps will ask you? Destination. Where do you want to go? Your outcome. That's what you type in the Google Maps thing, right? This is where I want to go. This is my destination. Once Google knows what is your outcome, what is the second thing Google will ask you? What does Google need to know? Once Google knows where you want to go, where are you now? Your awareness, your outcome, where do you want to go? Where are you now? Your awareness, your sensory awareness. Where am I now? What is your current location? Either you type in or you switch your location on. The Google will know where you are. Once Google knows where you are and where you want to go, what does Google give you? The route to go from one place to the other. Based on what? Does Google give you only one route? If there are multiple routes, does it suggest you multiple routes? It gives you multiple routes and tells you here there is less traffic but more distance, there is less distance but more traffic, whatever. It gives you all the options. Now, based on how you want to reach there, you need to be behaviorally flexible to choose any route. You cannot say every day I go by this route, I will only go by this route. Today, if that route is better, might as well go by that route. You'll reach earlier. Today, if this route is closed because of some work happening on the road, you won't say, right, I am not going to office today. Raste mein kaam chalu hai. So are you flexible with your behavior? Based on your mode of transport, based on the different routes available, Google will give you suggestions, multiple options, and expect you to be flexible enough to take detours and take any route which is easiest, which is more convenient at that time. One route may be better in the morning, or the same route may be a stupid route in the afternoon. Getting the point here? So, three pillars. We say that a person who has maximum behavioral flexibility has maximum influence. A person with maximum behavioral flexibility will have maximum influence on the outcome. I'm not talking about influencing people and all that. Influence on the outcome. When you choose to do something, there will be a few things with you, there will be a few things against you, right? A few things will be in your favor, a few things will be against you. Now, things that are in your favor are good. वो तो काम चल रहा है. Things that are against you, your behavioral flexibility will matter there. Can you be flexible enough and change your behavior to achieve that outcome? And this is the most critical part, because many people unfortunately get stuck to their behavior. They have wonderful and big dreams, and then they say, I am like this only. So, okay, if you are like this only, then you stay like here only. Simple. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, fine. So, very important. Can you stick to that outcome and change your behavior? Go back to your life and see wherever you have been successful, wherever you have done something against odds. When things were not in your favor, you still went beyond it and were successful. And see, did you change your behavior there? Was that an important element of you achieving the success when things were against you? Also go back to your life in the past and see where you could have won but you failed. Today, when you look back at it, you'll realize probably I should have made this change and ye ho jata. If I did this, that would have happened. If I did that, this would have happened. I was very rigid at that time and hence that didn't happen. Just like with sensory acuity we saw, there is not only one meaning. There can be multiple meanings to what we see. Similarly, there can be multiple ways to achieve an outcome. Are we flexible enough to take those ways? Okay. We are going to elaborate a lot more on these three pillars and how to use them at different situations. A lot more. Okay. Now, I want you to just start thinking about this. Fine. And there is an assignment I want to give you. And then we'll move on to the next topic. An assignment. I want all of you to write your story. Today, take some time out and write your story in a free flow form. Okay. Your story means whatever you have done, whatever you are doing, whatever you want to do, what is helping you, what has helped you, what went against you, what is going against you, in general, your current situation. Okay. And write this in a free form, not in bullet points. This should go at least 4 to 5 pages, at least. Okay. Very important. You don't have to share this with anybody, not even with me. I'm not going to read your stories. This is for you to write for yourself. And this story will form the basis of the entire training. If you write the story and when you are ready with the story, the training will give a completely different meaning to you. And if you simply look at this, one more exercise, I won't do it, dekhte, baad mein pata chalega. Then the training will give a different meaning to you. It will still be helpful, but not that helpful. Okay. When you write your story, it will be very, very helpful throughout this training. So make sure that you write your story. Okay. In regular free flow language, whatever language is good for you, doesn't have to be English or Hindi or whatever you are good with, in that at least 4 to 5 pages. If the more you write, the better for you. Okay. What went right, what went wrong, why it went wrong, how it went right, what is going right, what is going wrong, why it is going wrong, how it is going right, what you expect to do, what can happen, what might happen, what is helping you, what is going against you, what is stopping you, what is supporting you, everything. Just put down in general free story as if you are writing your biography. Okay, clear? So write this story. Coming back, the next topic, a very important topic, and there is some noise outside my room, so I need to just shut that noise. Give me one moment and I'll be here. Give me one moment. Okay, I'm back. Fine. So let's move on to the next topic for today. A next topic, a very, very important and a very powerful topic. We just talked about sensory acuity. Fine. Now, I'm going to show you some sentences. Okay. And you have to tell me whether it is sensory acuity or whether it is mind read. Now, mind read means the meaning that you have given. Sensory acuity means the sentence is saying what is happening. Okay. So, sensory acuity or mind read. Ready for it? And you have to type your answers in the chat box. Number one. What is this sentence? Is this sensory awareness or is this mind read? This is sensory. This sentence explains what happened. His smile dropped. It can be seen that the smile has dropped. His eyebrows frowned. It can be seen. He folded his arms. It can be seen. He leaned back. It can be seen. This is sensory information. Okay. Now next. Is this sensory information or mind read? This is a mind read. Mind read means I have given some meaning to what has happened. This is not sensory information. How do I know that he didn't believe me? I've given a meaning to it. Whatever has happened, I've given a meaning to it. Next. Completely sensory information, right? Fully sensory information. Next. How do I know she was shocked? Maybe I said something, she made some expression which makes me think that she was shocked. Maybe she wasn't shocked, right? This is me giving a meaning to what happened. Next. This is sensory. She avoided eye contact. Sensory or mind read? She was not looking into my eyes. Can be sensory. She avoided eye contact is mind read. How do I know she is avoiding? This is sensory. He got very angry with me. This is what? Mind read. Got it now? So this used to happen with me early days. Okay, when I just started becoming a trainer and started taking workshops. We had, though this was pre-pandemic, so these were all open halls and auditoriums. So first couple of sessions that I did of webinar, of seminars. So I started speaking 20-30 minutes into the talk. One person gets up from the chair and goes out. Being new into the field, being a first time person on the stage, you start making meanings out of it, right? Am I making sense? Are people liking it? Are they getting bored? Are they even understanding what I'm saying? Am I engaging them? Why are they getting up? Why did he get up? What happened? After 3 minutes, that person came back in. So what happened? Either he got a phone call or an HS call, right? So we give meanings to things and things may be different. You are in a meeting. You say something and one person gets up and goes out. And you start wondering, did I anger him? Did I say something wrong? Why did he get up and he go out? You are doing all this game in your mind. 2 minutes later, the person comes back and says, I'm so sorry, I had an emergency message, so I had to call my family. Yes, let's continue. And you are like, oh my God, it was something different. So many times we instantly give a meaning and the meaning turns out to be something else. And how do we save this? How do we avoid this? Simply by giving one moment, just one moment before we make a meaning. And even after making a meaning, accepting this is one of the meanings, it could be different. Pata chalega baad mein. We will know later. Not to worry. Okay. It is not wrong to give a meaning. Absolutely not wrong. Perfectly fine to give a meaning. I repeat, it is perfectly fine. In fact, you cannot not give a meaning. You will give a meaning. Even after all this awareness, you will give a meaning to whatever happens. My point is, while you give a meaning, also be aware that there can be other meanings that will keep you at peace. Okay? Fine. Now, next. We are going to take a look at a few words. So we are doing some random topics today, but all this will start coming together as we move forward into the course. Okay. While you write your story today, also be aware of these 3 pillars. Were you outcome oriented? Are you outcome oriented? Will you be outcome oriented? Did you have your sensory awareness? Do you have your sensory awareness? Will you have your sensory awareness? Were you behavioral? Was your behavioral flexible? Is your behavioral flexible? Will you be behaviorally flexible? Just be aware of all this as you write your story. Okay. And you will get a lot of answers unfolding themselves. As we go further in the course, you will start understanding how powerful outcome orientation is. I want an outcome. I want an outcome. Whatever happens, I will do it. For that, I'll have to change myself. I will change it. No problem. Because we all work towards an outcome. When we work towards our behavior, we are only satisfying our ego or our comfort. Not very much gets done. The moment we get out of that, when we say comfort zone, what is comfort zone? Your current behavior is your comfort zone. As long as things are helping your current behavior, it's a comfort zone. When you have to make a change in this, we say we are going out of our comfort zone, right? Okay. So because we started the day with language, the power of language, the communication that we do with others, with ourselves, etc. Let's understand the role of some important words in our life. Okay. Here is what I want you to do, all of you, in the chat box. Okay. I want you to type something. Think about something in your life that you wanted to do, but you cannot do. Okay. For example, you want to swim, but you cannot swim. You want to trek, but you cannot trek. Something like that. You want to fly an aeroplane, but you cannot fly an aeroplane. Something that you wanted to do, but you cannot do. Hold on, don't type. Hold on, hold on. I want you to type that in the chat box in this format. I cannot and the word. So I cannot swim or I cannot dance. Type the full sentence. I cannot be a doctor. I cannot be calm. Whatever. Okay. Type that in the chat box. As you type, observe your feeling. As you type, observe your feeling. Type the full sentence. Don't just say be an athlete. Type I cannot be an athlete. I cannot dance. I cannot switch a job. I cannot be a doctor. I cannot see galaxies with my naked eyes. I cannot speak English fluently. I cannot be a CA. I cannot buy a house in village. I cannot eat a tiger. Okay. I cannot go to Mars. I cannot dance. I cannot stop thinking. I cannot drive. I cannot speak confidently. I cannot be like you. I cannot cycle. I cannot drink. I cannot become an entrepreneur. I can't exercise. I cannot market myself. I cannot fly a helicopter. I cannot be a business owner. Okay. Okay. How does it feel when you type this? Frustrated, limited, not good, bad, disempowering, a bit sad, dejection, right? All negative feelings. Okay. Now, type the same sentence. Hold on. Type the same sentence with an additional word. Okay. Whatever you have written, I cannot so and so, follow it with comma, yet. Y-A-T, yet. I cannot swim yet. I cannot drive yet. Type it again, followed by yet, and see how it feels. I cannot keep calm yet. I cannot dance yet. I cannot buy a farmhouse yet. I cannot exercise yet. I cannot be a doctor yet. Super. How does it feel now? A possibility gets created, hopeful, positive. At least there's a chance, optimistic, confident, happy, elated. Good. So you're going to learn a new tense today. How many tenses do you know? At a high level, how many tenses are there? 3 tenses. Past tense, present tense, future tense. Correct? That is what school teaches you. Fine? Past tense, present tense, future tense. Unfortunately, when you use present tense in your own thinking, it is not present tense. It is permanent tense. Remember this 4th tense. Permanent tense. Permanent means it was the past, it is the present, it will be the future. When you say I cannot swim, what your mind accepts is I was not able to swim, I am not able to swim, I will not be able to swim. Although language wise it is present tense, I cannot swim. But from a human psychology perspective, present tense is actually permanent tense. I cannot be an entrepreneur means I was not able to be an entrepreneur. I cannot be an entrepreneur. I will not be able to be an entrepreneur. Language, school and college will teach you language, will teach you communication. NLP will teach you influence. The moment you put comma yet, that entire sentence goes where? In the past. I cannot swim yet means until now I could not swim. That doesn't mean I will not be able to swim. That doesn't necessarily mean you will be able to swim either. Simply by putting yet doesn't mean chalo I cannot swim yet लिखो और कूदो पानी में. इससे swimming नहीं आएगा. You'll have to do whatever it takes to learn swimming. But at least that entire limiting thought, that belief goes in the past and the future becomes open to options, open to opportunities. Just by adding that one word. Okay, just by adding that one word, the entire game changes from yourself, for your own belief, for your own values, for your own thinking systems. Some words come with a lot of power in them, a lot of power in them. Okay. Now, another such example, something that you probably already know. The word try. What does try do? What does try do? Allows you to fail. It allows you to fail. Right? And because it allows you to fail, you tend to fail. See, if you call me, Pavan, let's go for a movie, and I actually want to come, what will I say? Let's go, 6 p.m. I'm at your place. Right? If I don't want to come and I'm very sure about it, what will I say? Cannot make it, sorry, sometime later. Right? If I don't want to come, but I don't want to hurt you, what will I say? Okay, I'll try. I'll get back to you. Right? I'll try. Go back to your own life and see, when did you use the word try? When did you say, I will try? More often than not, when you didn't even want to try. You said, yes, I will try, when you didn't want to do it, not when you wanted to do it. Right? So try allows the possibility of failure and generally is used as an excuse, not as an empowering thing. Try to try, but don't cry means please cry. Okay. Try to try, but don't cry means what? Sit and cry. Don't do anything else. From a psychology perspective, from the human mind, the way language is taught and used outside is very different from the way your mind understands language. I'll give you another classic example of this. So you have learned a little bit of NLP. How many of you promise that you will do your best to complete all the 10 sessions and implement what you are learning? How many of you promise you will do your best to implement what you are learning and to complete the 10 sessions? Based on what you heard till now and based on how much you like it till now, how many of you commit that you will do your best? Wonderful. Super. Now, go back to your life and think, when did you use the word, I did my best? When did you use the words, I did my best? When you were successful or when you failed? Only when you failed. Every time you did something but you failed, you said, I did my best, but this happened, that happened, da, 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 da. I did my best to bring my business, but demonetization happened. Then I did my best, but pandemic happened. And then there are people who you know have sailed through everything. And when you ask them, how did you manage through the pandemic? They're like, this happened. I immediately changed this. I changed that. I changed this. I changed that. And I started it this way and it worked. I'll give you my own example. I was against the idea of online trainings before the pandemic. I was against that idea. I was like, face to face has more fun, more joy, more useful, more impactful. Then the pandemic happened. It took me only 2 days to switch. There are many people who were like me, who remained like me, and now they are facing a challenge because they thought it's just 1 or 2 months. then they'll get back to business. It never happened for 1.5 years. They lost their practice. They forgot how to speak. I was fortunate that I took that decision in 2 days. I agree I am not in too much in favor of online training, but right now that is the only option. करके देखते हैं. I will also try. People are also trying. Go for it. And it worked. Things are good. So did you do what was your best, or did you do whatever it takes? Did you do what was best, what was your best, or do you do whatever it takes? I did my best is always used as an excuse. Nobody says, you know what, I won that World Cup because I did my best. No. They say, Arey, I did my best, but this happened, but that happened. And when you ask people who actually succeeded against all odds, they will tell you, we did whatever it takes. The president of Ukraine is saying we are doing whatever it takes. We are going to stop Russia. Everybody thought this war will be over in 5 days. Ukraine will be done and dusted in 5 days. They didn't say we did our best, but we failed. No, we are doing whatever it takes. When you do your best, you only remain in your comfort zone. Okay? So be very careful of the language you use with you. I don't care what you use with others so much right now. वो बाद में आएगा. That will come later. But what is the language you use with yourself? Are you telling yourself, I will do my best? The moment you said that to yourself, you are done. You are not supposed to do your best. You have to do whatever it takes to achieve the outcome. When you do your best, you are remaining in your behavior. There is no flexibility. There is no change in your behavior. This is how I am, and this is the best I did. When you want to achieve the outcome, now you are talking, I did whatever it takes to get there. This way, that way, hook, crook, whatever. Okay. So I want all of you to type in the chat box now. I will do whatever it takes to learn and implement this. Make sense? Okay. And keep this sentence in mind. Whenever you think something extraordinary needs to be done, your best is not extraordinary. Your best is ordinary. Whatever it takes will be extraordinary. Okay. Fine. Next. The word but. The word but. What does the word but do? It negates the previous sentence and empowers the following sentence. But is always used between two sentences. Okay. I wanted to join at 7 a.m. in time, but I slept late yesterday. Okay. So what does this but do? It negates the previous sentence. I wanted to join in time, but means you didn't want to join in time. And whatever comes after but, I slept late yesterday, it empowers it further. Okay. The word but always negates the previous sentence. Always. Now, does that mean these are wrong words? You should never use them. So when you say yes, but, it actually means no. Okay. Are these wrong words something that you should never use? Try, but, kabhi use nahi karna chahiye. Then there's a third word, never. Never use never. So when should you use try? When should you use but? There are situations when these words are very powerful as well. There are situations when these words are very powerful. It's not like universal rejection of these words, not at all. Try can be very nicely used the way you are already using it. I will try to come. When you don't want to come and you don't want to hurt the person, you must say, I will try to come. Use it in those situations. But when you want to do something, don't say, I will try to do it. Similarly, but, if somebody is coming to you for some help and talking about that person's limitations, and you know this is not a limitation to begin with, you can use the word but. For example, somebody says, I want to exercise every day, but I cannot wake up early. Okay. You can tell him, I know you cannot wake up early, but, and then something else. You can exercise in the evening, this, that, whatever. I know you cannot wake up early, and then, but in that person's mind, you are negating the feeling that the person cannot wake up early. And you are empowering whatever advice you are going to follow after, but. The person says, I cannot wake up at 6 a.m. I wake up at 9 a.m. generally. I know you cannot wake up at 6 a.m. You cannot wake up at 6 a.m. But can you start getting a 15 minutes early, face by face? Now what you're saying is first accepting, you cannot get up at 6 a.m. But means you can get up at 6 a.m. Re Baba. How? Start face by face 15 minutes early. That but will negate the fact that he cannot get up at 6 a.m. and empower the fact that he can at least start face by face. Both advantages will be served. So you should be very cautious of when you use it, when you not use it. Okay. Fine. Okay. Another word, another very important language, which you have to take care of when you use it with yourself. Now, if you join tomorrow also, you're going to share all the notes and other stuff with you. Okay, for this training. What does this sentence do? I just told you, if you join tomorrow, we are going to share the notes and other stuff with you. What does this sentence do? It gives you a choice. You may or may not join. Fine. But more important than giving you a choice, it plays in my mind, thinking people may or may not join. It shows my confidence. Will these people join? Right? Instead of if, when I say this, when you join tomorrow, we will be sharing the notes and other stuff with you. Now, what am I assuming here? What is the presumption here? You are joining. उसमें तो doubt है ही नहीं. When you join, we will be giving these notes to you. So instead of if, change it to when. If creates a dual possibility. When means possibility is only one, just a matter of time. Okay. If we meet again, I will give you a hard copy of this book. When we meet again, I will give you a hard copy of this book. What is more powerful? When, right? When is more powerful? If you give money to somebody, if you give a loan to somebody, some friend or relative, what do you ask? If you will give this back or when you will give this back? When, right? You won't ask whether you will give this back. तो ऑप्शन दे दिया आपने, वो काय को हाँ बोलेगा, right? So when and if, very, very important, very, very powerful. Simple words. These words have been there in our life for ages, right? Yet these words make a lot of change. Fine. So be aware of these words. That doesn't mean immediately you write it somewhere on the whiteboard. I will only use these words. I will always use yet for my limitations. I will never do my best. I will always do whatever it takes. बड़े बड़े बोर्ड लगा के घर में चिपका दिए. That won't help. But keeping these in your awareness, just by listening to me, you are not going to stop saying if and but. But next time when you say but and you become aware, Arey, I said but, just stay in that awareness for a moment. Automatically but will reduce. Automatically if will reduce. Automatically try will reduce. Just stay in awareness every time you end up using it. Okay. Being aware that I did it, I shouldn't have done it. Fair enough, I did it. I'll take care next time. That's all you have to think of. Okay. Good enough. Good time to stop for the day. Yes. Now the meeting link will be same for tomorrow. The joining link, the joining details, everything is same for tomorrow. And when you join tomorrow, we will share the notes and other stuff for this training. The first weekend, today and tomorrow, serves as a foundation to the course. Next 4 weekends will be the actual practitioner course. You'll be learning a lot more. Tomorrow we are going to see how people understand and how people make sense of things. How can one sentence make one person happy and another person sad? What's the difference between the language? We will also see how people think, how to identify how people think, how other people think, how to identify how a certain person is thinking, what is their mode and way of thinking. We're going to see all of that tomorrow. Okay. The meeting link will be same. Your assignment for today is that you have to write your story, how your life has been, how it is, and how you expect it to be over the next maybe 5-10 years, whatever. And write your own story, at least 4 to 5 pages in a free flow, not in bullet points, but in free flow. Okay. And I'll see you all again tomorrow, 7 a.m. sharp, not a minute late, not a minute early. Okay. I'm going to leave you with the thought of these words, a thought of these words. And that's why I'm not doing any Q&A today. Tomorrow we will do a Q&A session after the training is over. And after tomorrow, every Saturday and Sunday, we will have enough Q&A until the last question is answered. Okay. But today, just be in awareness of what all you have learned: outcome orientation, behavioral flexibility, sensory acuity, communication model, giving meaning. You have learned a lot of new and wonderful things today. Fine. Just be in that awareness. Joining link is same for tomorrow, WhatsApp group, etc., etc. Everything else, notes, recordings, everything else we will see tomorrow. Okay. Have a great time. Have a great day, and see you all tomorrow at 7 a.m.